In Greek mythology, Orpheus was the greatest musician and poet. He could charm all living things, but he lost his wife to the underworld. It's an amazing myth that has inspired artists for millennia. For me, the core of the Orpheus story is about the loss we feel when we recognize our own mortality, or the mortality of loved ones. It's about that realization that the world isn't quite what we expected it to be. And depending on who's telling the Orpheus story, it can either be a loss that's all-consuming, or it can be something that leads to a greater understanding, a sense of contentment. It's that sense of understanding and contentment that I really wanted to try to express in the Orpheus Project. The Orpheus Project is a whole bunch of pieces of music that are happening in a theater on the same night, but they're not happening in the same space. You actually wander through the theater, and you get to hear music in dressing rooms, and get to hear music on stage, and get to walk backstage and discover something in a hallway, discover something in a stairwell. So the Orpheus Project is about taking pieces of music that tell the story of Orpheus and sharing them in hopefully a new way that helps people listen to and think about how the story, this ancient story, is still relevant in their own lives. I have this ambition to connect with non-traditional music audiences, and I wanted to create the Orpheus Project to help achieve that. We wanted to find both a practical way and a beautiful poetic way of moving the audience through the entire show. We had these incredible volunteer guides. Many of them were theater students and young theater practitioners who came together to help the audience find a path through the whole space. So we had 4 different colors. You would follow red, you would follow orange, you would follow blue, you would follow green. And your guide would take you on the silent path so that you would experience a bunch of different music that evening. You didn't have to worry about making decisions. You didn't have to worry about what am I supposed to do next. You were able just to follow your guide and experience all of the art. So you could notice that there was a sonnet hung word by word across the top of a ceiling, or you could walk into a space and see that ribbons were creating a sense of a cavern. It's received in different ways. I think the theater community is much more familiar with this idea of immersive experience. In music, we don't have that. The immersion is that you're surrounded by sound. So I know that a lot of audience members, of music-going audience members, found this not just novel, but like really quite beautiful. And that blew me away. That people were so excited to have a chance to listen to music in a new context. When I think of the Orpheus myth, I know that depending on who's telling it, it's going to be a different story. Even though everybody would be in the same theater at the same time, walking about, listening to many of the same pieces, there wasn't a single audience member who could hear all of the pieces in one performance. So it was a bit of a philosophical idea to say, what is a performance? What does it mean? You know, is it complete if you have a guide showing you your path that you're supposed to be on? And what does it mean to get together with other audience members and talk about pieces and discover maybe what you didn't hear, or to wonder if what you heard was the same thing that somebody else heard? So we knew that audience members wouldn't get to hear the entire project, wouldn't get to hear every single piece, but we hoped that that would actually add a kind of layered understanding of both the Orpheus myth and what this project was about. This idea of Orpheus continues to inspire artists today. It's thousands of years old. We've been telling this story to ourselves forever, and people are still inspired by it. My absolute favorite thing about the project was seeing this troupe of musicians and creators, production people, and especially the volunteer guides. Seeing all of these people come together as a company. It's that sense of community being built around a piece of art.